Hello, everyone. This is Spirit Journey, and today is Friday, the Hello Friday. It is Friday, January 19th, 2018, and I see that it is 8:58 p.m. I'm just setting up my desk here so I can see what's happening on my channel as I uh, talk live. Okay. See, I'm new. I'm still new at all of this. Okay, I want to see. Okay, I don't see it moving. That's what I want to try to see. Let's see, how does this work? Okay, posted videos. I'm watching. Let me click on that. Let's see, how does this work? Okay. Okay. Yes, so good evening, all. Good evening. I hope you all had a great week. This week went very, very fast for me. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. How was your week? Did any of you go out? You go to the movies, or you going tonight? Or you just came back from the movies? How's the weather where you were? Here this week, it was very cloudy, rainy, and snow. So, I did go out a little bit. I had an appointment today, actually, and I want to talk about that, about what I did today. That was a little trying for me. But the first topic I want to talk about is, let me know if you can hear me clearly, if there's a problem with audio or the video portion, please let me know, okay? Yeah, so yes, so now it's 9 o'clock or 9:01. And yeah, I hope you already ate your dinner. I had mine. Today I bought what we call ramen noodles. Those dried noodles. They're real inexpensive. You just add hot water to it, and let it soften up for a couple of minutes. I had that, but I added some fresh spinach to it and this beef in it. I like those Chinese takeout, fast food. And I said, hey, let me make it myself. So I did. And I enjoyed it very much. I didn't make it too spicy. I even like the ramen noodles. It has the little flavoring packets inside, but I decided, you don't know what they put in those seasoned packets. So I just used my own spices, and yeah, it came out really nice. I'm happy about it. And I think I needed to eat it. I needed some substance food today. A little bit of the beef with the noodles and veggies, maybe what was happening earlier today. I just needed to get more fortified. I did have a good breakfast, and but sometimes you just need a little, sometimes eating something nice, hot, warm meal, it kind of calms you down a little bit. It's very comforting, and it helps you see things in a different perspective. And so that's how I feel right now. So I'm not as uh, edgy, anything like that. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Mitzaf? Yeah, I hope I pronounced your name right. Matizaf. Yes, Matizaf. He says, "Love Raymond." Yeah, yeah. And we have Karen Shepherd. She says, "Good evening." Yes, good evening to you. And so I guess you're all cozy at home. Yeah, I'm pretty cozy. I'm barefoot right now. My feet are a little cold, but it was really hot today in my boots. I have these combat looking boots, and maybe I'd even show it to you later on. It's behind me. Yeah, so the socks that I had it on my right foot. Have you ever had this happen to you? Your sock rolls all the way down to your toes. Well, that happened to me on the beginning of my journey today to this office, my management office for my apartment that I rent. And I have a blister on my heel right now, you know. So, but it's all good. It's all good. And, I'm really excited now that I have uh, the viewers now watching. It is comforting, guys. And I say hello to you. And I hope your day went well and everything. Yeah. So yeah, my I love my ramen and with the beef, how I prepared it. Like since I use my own spices and everything. So what I did, I took about maybe three three cups of water in a saucepan, and then I have this grounder, and I put in my fresh black pepper and mustard seeds, and I crush it into the water, and then I add my fresh turmeric and a little bit of garlic powder. I would have used my whole garlic cloves, but I didn't. I used my garlic powder instead. And what else? A little bit of what do you call it? Cayenne pepper, just a dab of it in it, and then I threw in the chopped beef, not chopped beef, what do you call it? There was beef pieces, and then I just put it in little slices, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to blow my nose, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, sometimes it gets a little cool and it makes my nose, do what it does. So I apologize. But yeah, so I took the saucepan, I had the fire going and put the spices in. And then, oh, and also a little bit of parsley, dry parsley. I love dry parsley. And then it starts to boil. I put it, on a low fire. And then when the beef was close to being cooked, I let it cook for maybe 20 or 30 minutes on a low flame. And then I added the ramen noodles and put the spinach, fresh spinach first, and then the noodles, and let it cook for another 10 minutes. And then I let it cool for another maybe 5 minutes. And I started eating it. And it came out really nice. And it's a great way to save money because I do like eating out, you know. So, but, I shouldn't do that as often as I do. But sometimes, I see that when I get a little stressed, I like to buy food outside, But either way, well, I want to first talk about the what's the name of the family? The Turpin's family. They're the family that has the 13 children, and the parents allegedly had tortured them. This case, I think I just heard about the case 1 or 2 days ago, but even still, it kind of wrestled me inside. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It kind of wrestled me, and it kind of like pressed the buttons in me. I um I don't I don't like seeing people, especially children and animals. I feel very personal about that, and the anger and a lot of sadness I've been having after hearing about those kids. And maybe 10 minutes ago, I was just uh, following some of the reports on YouTube um, that talked about the what was that um, like the not a trial, but when you're given what you're being convicted of, what you will be charged for in the crime, and uh, and then I also heard that they pleaded not guilty, and but so they really they mentioned a lot of info, and wow, I like off the top, like the photos that they have of the parents, they look very, very spooky. And I find like, especially the one of the wife, when I look at them, especially the wife, I feel creeped out. The photos remind me of that other couple, married couple, who had kidnapped this 11, no, she was either 10 or 11 at the time. And the guy had sexually violated this young child, and she got pregnant. She had two kids from this guy. And when I remember when I saw his face, on television, on my computer, I wanted to, I started to almost throw up, that never happened to me before, to look at somebody's face and to almost throw up at the side of his face. And even to this day, I can't look at the person's face. And with this case here, with the Turpins, that that same feeling. I mean, they look creepy. So, but like some of the things they talk about, like they said the wife was initially got married to the guy, her husband, at the age of 16, and it's like a 8 or 9 year age difference between the husband and wife. So it seems like there's a power differentiation between the two. That's a power thing, you know. You're 16-year-old, you marry someone 8, 9 years older, you know. So it made me feel like there's a power thing that possibly the husband has. You never know. I'm just speculating. It's just how I felt at the time. I'm just thinking about when I was 16 years old. I wouldn't want to be involved with someone 9 years older if I was 16. I felt comfortable. You feel like you marrying your father or something. But the wife's eyes look real, like she's in a trance or something not right upstairs. And then, like, I did a live video yesterday or the day before regarding, I spoke briefly regarding this couple. And I said, as when more information comes out about this family, the parents in particular, that you're going to really discover why they did what they did. People don't just wake up and say to themselves that, oh, I want to get up and I want to torture my children and starve them, beat them, put them in chains. I really think, and those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you've been noticing that I've been talking more about a lot of governmental things, like different, like the MK Ultra type of things that are done to some segments of the population. And the MK Ultra is something that was done via I think the alphabet agencies of the government, where they do mind control over the person, and they use torture methods, or what they call the Monarch program, that was done out in Long Island, New York. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, the Montauk Project. And I'm thinking, I said, something is telling me that there might be something involved in those programs or alphabet agency. So far, what they mentioned about the husband, that he is employed. And yeah, so it sounds like this Mitizaf says, sounds like some deep-seated feelings locked deep within you. Yes. Some spirit of life is helping to bring it out. Yes. Hidden blessings in all this. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So, but I have a feeling that something very deep was done behind the whole thing with the children and the parents involved. And so they mentioned today, at least I heard today, that the father he is employed, and he works, he does he's a contractor for the what do you call those military war stuff. He's a contract for them. And I've heard things like this before, that a lot of these these weird programs where people minds are being warped, or we call them mind controlled, things like that. And it turns out, bingo, he's in it. Now, what a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence when it comes to this type of torturing and stuff. And again, I've been mentioning now for the past 2 months or so, 2.5 months, about what they call the uh, super soldiers program, where they find people from a particular background. They like to find people who they have Native American in them. They might be Irish, or they're Jewish. They seem to like these particular demographics, and they usually use these demographics to work for the CIA and the other alphabet agencies, and then they do these experiments on them, or relatives of these people. That's how they get these people in the program, by people applying for these agencies. I remember seeing a program over YouTube. This woman said that she was a targeted individual, and that she had applied for the CIA once. She didn't get in, but right after that, she started to get targeted. So once they get a profile of someone, via their application, some of these people are what they call targeted. They do various things of harassment. They're followed, just weird things. They start to hear things, that isn't there, or see things that really aren't there. They experiment on them. Again, I don't know whether it's true, but this is what this person is saying. So, with the Turpin's family that's living out there in Paris, California, I'm wondering, if they're in this, the father's in this government, what do you call it? That the people that make the weaponry and stuff like that for war. I'm wondering. I'm wondering. And today, when they mentioned what they'll be charged with, and someone asked, "Well, how does he support himself?" And they were very vague. They were very vague. The what do you call it? The prosecutor, that they just said, "Oh, well, he's working." But in another one, it mentioned that they worked for the government. So why aren't they really disclosing about certain things, about who employs them? Just like with the Las Vegas shooting, it turns out that the guy worked for the alphabet agencies of the government, and he was a gun runner. But they kind of hush everything. He wasn't a lone ranger. He wasn't just someone by himself. He was someone that was employed by the government, and it looked like a patsy. Patsy meaning that he's being accused and set up for something that he may not have even known what was really going on. He might have thought he's just selling machine guns, or whatever what you call it, but not knowing that they're going to do a shooting and kill all these people. It's really weird. Again, I don't know what's really going on with the Las Vegas thing, but I see that it could be possible parallels about when you really dig down deep, what's really going on behind the scenes. And so the cover story with the Turpins, the parents of those 13 kids who were tortured, according to the media, that it's going to just look, that they just, just a housewife, and then the guy who, husband works somewhere, and it just happened. I doubt they're going to really get deep because they don't want it to come out. They don't want it to come out, the possibilities that people are still being used as guinea pigs for who knows what reason. I see you have really a lot of sick people out there, and it scares me. It really scares me. And I think also like this whole case, even though it's just starting, it's breaking paradigm systems that here they're forecasting, not forecasting, they're showing a family, a Caucasian family, and you would not think that things like that could happen, but it seems like they really want people to know about this particular family. They live in a very nice area. The place looks new. The building development that they live in, it just looks really ideal. They have 4 cars. Yeah, everything seemed really great. The news also said that the type of tortures that they did, that the father had done, as it said, lewd things to one of the daughters who was at least under the age of 14. What else? They were denied food, and they were teased with the food, meaning like they would have these pies on the counter, but then the kids can't eat it, and they just to look at it. They were only allowed to maybe bathe once a year, once or twice a year. What else? They were beaten if they're washing their hands, and if the water goes above their wrist, that they'll be tortured and beaten because they said you're playing with the water. You're not supposed to play with the water. This is MK Ultra. This is something that they were taught, the parents, and done that. It really gets me angry. It really does. I'm wondering. I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh, something else before I forget. Like, they haven't really said anything about the religion in this. Some news reporters did mention something about a religious component to the family, and one of the parents of these parents is a minister. Okay, so I thought that was something. And yeah, they didn't allow. Here, the oldest kid is 29 years of age, and the grandparents were not allowed to see their kids. So the grandparents, and the aunts didn't have access. I think one of them might have seen them. No, one of them might have seen them maybe 20 years ago. That's a long time ago. Yeah, about 20 years ago, she said. And she lived with them a short time, and how the father there was watching her in the shower. That is creepy. So that leads me to believe that there were probably other sexual things going on outside of that 14-year-old that they did disclose today in the news. It's a mind control. It's all about controlling others. And what makes someone do that? What makes so-called normal people, and outwardly they were so-called goodly people, but then all this decay, they showed where they used to live. They lived in another apartment. I forget what state it was. And they showed what the place looked like. Horrors. Horrors. So something seemed to be wrong up there that they talk about doing things, and here they're doing, they're not even cleaning after themselves. It's awful. They mentioned that one of the girl that's 29 years of age, she's the oldest, and she only weighs 82 pounds. I was in the eighth grade when I was 82 pounds. Okay, that was the age of 13, 13, 14. Here she's 29. 82 pounds. That is skin and bones. That is so severe. Again, I don't know how tall she is, because depending upon your height. Now, if you're just a very, very, very short person, but still, 82 pounds is 82 pounds for an adult. And it's beyond my imagination that something like that could happen. And I think why it was triggering me is because of my upbringing. Again, my life doesn't pale to what these kids have gone through. Nothing like that at all. But I still went through things, a lot of mind games, a lot of manipulation, sneaking in my room. I've never done drugs. I don't smoke. I didn't bring boys to the house. Nothing like that. Very conservative growing up, but it was a lot of control and manipulation, and they kept us busy. We had to just keep on doing chores all the time, and so like on Saturdays is major chores day of cleaning up the house, and it just took all day. My parents would get up when they get up, and we had to start our chores like at 12 o'clock. So they got up late. How I was made to feel that they got up late and gave us our assignments for that day at that time. So by the time you're finished, oh, it's dark outside, you can't go outside. And this went on for years. Then my older siblings started to complain and say, why don't you tell us what our chores would be on Friday so we can get up early and start our work. And so if we want to go out, so they started doing that, But I feel like it's intent, And I really feel, that it was a lot of control. And then there were molestations that I'd been through, and everything is hush hush. And I was able to relate to them. Like we had to stand in size order, like what they had to do, when company comes and everything. And it really it reminded me of things that I felt. I felt like, I know it might sound that I'm stretching it, but I didn't feel free. I felt captive. And I felt like, that I stayed mentally young for a long time. But it's my desire to, flap my wings and fly. Yeah. That's also why I have this channel. That my spiritual growth and development is about breaking those barriers from people who you're supposed to trust that you don't trust, that aren't trustworthy, I should say, And I mentioned about my life in earlier videos that I had a family member, I think about a year ago now, and this family member calls me and says that they remember me. He remembers seeing this particular person in my household sneaking up in my bedroom when I had my own room at either 12 midnight or 1 o'clock, he said. And what I I was shocked when he said that. And it explains why certain things that how I felt that as a teenager. Yeah, that I was 15 at the time that he's referring to, and um, I'm sorry, just trying to get my thoughts. Yeah, the I used to have what they call body. You feel as if like it's it's almost like I'm asleep or at a light sleep, and then then you actually feel. Well, I actually felt someone grabbing my ankles and then pulling me, and then I wake up and turn around and no one's there. This was going on for a while with me, and so the, I think those events are called what's called body memories. Body memories is when a trauma, something happens to you, and you may not mentally recall or visualize what happened, but your body remembers what happens to you, you know? And I feel also with this person, like this person saw what was going on, and I'm wondering, hey, well, did you say anything? What did you tell anybody what you saw? Did you confront him? He didn't. I don't think he did. And I'm angry at that because also the same individual had said that, like, I had to report a relative for molesting me and another person. And I did that, oh, when was that? about 14 years ago. It was in 2003, in May of 2003. And this particular person was saying that they didn't believe me. I've never lied to this person before. Always, I'm a straightforward person. And the person's reasoning was, well, how could that person have done something to you of a sexual nature and you let that person drive you to school? Hey, I'm a teenager, don't know how to drive, don't have my own car, um, poor, I was still living at home, and you're trapped. And they use fear against you. Oh, you're not gonna be able to keep a job. Oh, and wish you failure. And that's what my life was like. Yep. So so here this person calls me out of the blue a year ago. He says, well, now I believe you. I said, oh, really? Like, wow. But I'm glad though that he did tell me that he believed, because we all need validation to some level. It's nice to have validation, or someone to say, yes, I can vouch for what you're saying is true. So yeah, so it was said, and it's just sometimes like siblings could be at odds with one another, jealousy, even though people might be mistreated by the adults of the house. And sometimes because of that stress, that the kids will start to turn on each other. And I think that was part of the dynamics or jealousies. And I think it's unfortunate. I care about all my siblings. I wish them the best. I really love all of them. But you might love someone, but they may not be good for you. They may not. You have to be realistic that sometimes, or even in other relationships, let's say with boyfriend girlfriends, you know, you might love that other person, but they're not good for you, and they will hold you back emotionally, physically, spiritually, you name it. And I think this is the same thing. It's just in-house problem. But we really have to be more awake about what's going on around us, especially with this case of the Turpins. That it's not blaming other people. You know, it's what's happening in that house. It's not other people outside of the house's fault, but that somehow we have to really examine what's going on in the household and make a decision. And you know, it's hard to make decisions. I knew for myself that, you know, like if you turn someone in, you know, especially if I was younger, that okay, who's gonna pay the bills? You know, we have young kids, and then you know, the remaining parent, they turn a blind eye because you know they feel stuck. I've known of ladies that they felt stuck. They were afraid. There's always a lot of fear involved and intimidation. And I know a lady that she was being beaten up badly. She'd come to work and you see this big thing on the lip. She told me later on what happened. And she and her husband, I mean, she's been abused by her husband, and the husband is torturing and beating the child, a young child. Yeah, I think it's awful. I feel it's like you're stuck. And you know, coincidentally, maybe it's because of this Turpin case that, at least in New York City, there's a law required. It's this paperwork that you fill out in case there's a domestic dispute, like someone being what do you call targeted or harassed, you know, by a spouse or whatever. Your life is endangered. Yeah, they have now that the think the landlord has to find a safe place for them to live, some alternative place for them. Yeah, I just got the paper today because I had to go to my building management office. I didn't read it, but just before I left, I was handed this paper and for me to read. I hope I never have to use something like that. But see, so this is something that's very serious because now it's a law that they have to, you know, they have to have something, some procedure to do in the case of domestic violence of all kinds. So I'm glad about that. I'm really glad about that. Um, what else? Yeah, so this is a serious matter. And I started to feel like yesterday, again, feeling down. And then the anger started to feel, you know, inside. So it's one of those things. But just imagine, you know, what happened to me was nothing in comparison to, I think, other people out there, such as the Turpin's family. And I know of other people from other countries. Yeah, it's systemic. It's in all type of races, nationalities. Yeah, you have people who are actually raped by their parent. And in fact, when I was watching the news on the Turpins with those 13 kids that were tortured by their parents, they said that they have to do a DNA test on all the children to find out who is the mother. Because, get this, and it just clicked when they said that. Because they're concerned that the the I guess the father in particular might have birthed those kids with the daughters. Incest. That's what they're getting at. They know that there's siblings of some type, but they don't know definitive. And they know that the possibility that maybe some of those kids are had gotten what do you call it pregnant from the father. It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. Those poor, poor children. And it happens in, you know, I'm sure that it's, if we dig deep enough, that it's all over. Like I also mentioned that a person that I know, they're from the Dominican Republic, and the one of the daughters got actually raped by the father, and to prevent her from telling, that the father took the girl's sent her with went with the father to the Dominican Republic, and he took away the girl's passport, and she's stranded there for years. She had to live with with relatives down there. Yes, it happens. And I was involved in that case also. The my friend had told me what happened. So I said, someone got to tell. So I went to the authorities for her. But you know what happened in that case? They were real dumb. New York City, they it's unfortunate. Even though you have a really great team, police force, the investigative abilities, but you have people who, I don't know whether it's sabotage or they just don't care or all the above. That now I warned them. I said that if you go there, you have to bring someone who speaks Spanish. It's a Spanish only household. They don't know any English. They're the remaining kids. And they had to, she's one of 12 kids. I think, yeah, I think 12 kids, 11 of them girls. And the last one at that time was a boy. The boy at that time when this all went on, the boy was 11 months old. And the girl's telling me she's happy to find that, the last one is a boy, so maybe it won't happen to him. And what he did, he also did on the stoop in front of people. That's according to the girl that's telling me this. And so I had gone to those protective services for children and told them what the friend told me. Guess what they did? They go to the house and no one speaks Spanish. And the whole thing, it just blew out of proportion. Who knows what happened to those children after they left? Because the girl that's telling me this, she had already moved out. But a couple months later, I was told that the father was finally out of the house. They didn't go in detail, but they were happy that he was gone after that. So when we get involved in stuff like that, those people, those are you got to really listen to what's going on, because they can cause more harm than good. It's out there. It's rampant. There are people who, like this family, they had the facade. See, they knew what they were doing. They had this facade in front of them of the Mickey Mouse, those Disney characters, to make it look like, oh, they're having fun. And you know what else the district attorney said? That they weren't allowed to play with toys. Even though when they went into the house, they had toys that were unopened, that they were still in the packaging. They weren't allowed to play with the toys. So again, it's teasing them of having fun. So it's a mind game that they were doing. Yeah, I'm just reading this note here with a Mitizaf. Adults with very low self-esteem try to feel good about themselves by torturing their children. Yes, bingo. Yes, you are so right. And the person that I was referring to in my family did the same thing. I remember them used to say horrible things to others, and all the mind game. And again, this other family member telling me of the things he remembers that person, my abuser, used to do to me. Some things I had blocked out. And he just calls and says, oh, by the way, I'm a little angry at him for doing that, for telling me that, because it's like he gets it off his chest, but now it's re-traumatizing me and putting it on me, And I told him, I said, hey, look, rather than just saying, telling me this, why don't you go and try No, I won't even go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm sorry. But there are other kids involved because there's more than one person that abused me, and this second person is at large and has access to little kids, and was told it's just awful the things that I know, and the authorities can't touch him. It's really weird. You you have some people who are so clever and they know how to jump the system and not be prosecuted or do partial. You know, the person that I had arrested only did 4 months in jail. And then he was supposed to have a probation and not have access to children. And he did immediately after he gets out of jail. And when I found out that, I notified the authorities, and they said that something happened with the paperwork. When he left from one jurisdiction to another, they didn't carry that penalty with him. And then he goes back to the original state, and that other state removed the what do you call it? The what he was accused of. I don't know the terminology, so you got to forgive me. But in essence, that it was removed as if nothing happened on the record. So his mugshot is no longer up, and he is living with little kids. And I doubt that he had the treatment, because I had said part of probation he must have treatment, where he's in the middle of nowhere and has access to computers because he had the computer, what we call the child pornography. This guy's having a field day. And I am so disgusted. And I think after hearing about this case, the Turpins, I think I want to write a letter to what is it, the Congress? I think it'll be Congress involved for them to place a law so that person can't leave one jurisdiction to another and then come back and then not have either of them active. And so you have access to have sex with children. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But that's what happened. And I think that I'll try to draft some type of document and submit it to try to pass a law. Yeah, I should do that. I have time. I think I'll do that because we have to protect each other. We have to protect those people who can't protect themselves. Something has to be done. And I think with that individual that I had arrested, I think it's part of. I think it's part of a larger ring, pedophile ring, and I think that's also because I couldn't get the what do you call it when you do a FOIL, Freedom of Information. You have a right to, like, when something happens, to get copies. It's called FOIL, and they refused to give it to me. They gave me a picture of the mugshot. That was it, but not the documents. None. They refused. So it made me think that what he was involved in was part of a larger ring, pedophile ring, and they're just keeping it hush hush. They only gave him 4 months, and that's it. 4 months. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? When I think about it, it's disgusting. So I think it's more like what they talk about, the Pedogate and the other stuff, similar topics. It's a larger thing. And if you discuss things like this, you can't be monetized. They won't monetize you when you discuss certain topics. I'm not cursing or anything like that, but they won't monetize. So it's another way of censoring people. censoring them that, hey, if I talk about this, then I'm not going to be, you know, um, get monetized. And hey, what if someone does this for a living to do YouTube and rely on it for their income to support themselves and their family? See, you see what I'm getting at? So it's different types, different levels of control that they have over the general population. And one of those controls is the media control. Control what you hear. So it controls what you think, right? That is what's going on. And that's is what has to stop. It has to. It's not freedom. You know, we all should have that freedom. Wow. Yeah, so there's something else I wanted to talk about, like that I kind of mentioned in part. Yeah, I had an appointment today. I had an appointment with the management office where I live, and I had called like I live in I rent an apartment, a unit, and every year I have to be recertified, and it's a whole procedure. I feel like I I work for some big agency or something. How detailed they get in your business about really about money and this and that, and so I have to be recertified, and they So I it we have to get what you call a transcript. You know, it's your files, you know, your tax file form. And you do this at the beginning of the year, you know, and it takes like 10 business days. And today's only the 19th, okay? And you had a lot of snow and bad weather and everything, but still early. And my recertification has to be completed by March 3rd. So it's plenty of time. And in the past, I've been in this building now for about going on 15 years. 15 years. And the procedure is the same. January comes along, you contact the IRS. Hey, could you send me a copy of my uh, transcript? Okay, and then you get in the mail, and then you call the management office, and then you set up an appointment. Then you have to bring in all the other documents and photocopies of the original. So you have to send the original and the photocopy. So I called yesterday since I had was getting all the information available. You know, the transcripts come in. You know, once the transcript comes in and it's in my possession, then I get all the other paperwork. You know, the copy of my uh, bank statements and all of that. You know, so I have a packet, a whole packet. I bring the whole unit together and bring it to the management office, and then there's tons and tons of papers that I have to sign. So they had sent a letter to me in my door, and again it came late in the day, and like they like put it in between the door, and a lot of times we have the fast food people, you know, the Chinese restaurants, they put their menus under the door, things like that. So I thought it might have been that, and I didn't feel like opening my door to get it out. That's what I thought. But when I was leaving early today for my appointment, I see an envelope from the office. It was, and I was, you know, I didn't want to be late, and so I just put it on the counter, and then I went to the appointment. It seemed to go very well. I had a pleasant conversation with the person who processes my paperwork, thinking everything's okay. I didn't hear any message, you know, any important messages regarding my stay in the building. I get home, and then I open the letter, and my mouth dropped. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And I have the letter here. Let me see. Let's get it. Yeah, this is all spiritual warfare. This is spiritual warfare. Let's get it. I get it. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Where's that now? Oh, I know it has to be here somewhere. I kept everything together. Let's see. Just bear a moment with me. Oh, this is not. I'm trying to find it. Okay, this must be it. Yes, okay. Okay, so I had set up the appointment yesterday when I got the transcript from the IRS today, and that was just yesterday. I called her yesterday, early afternoon, I think it was. Yeah, it was in the afternoon, daylight, and they delivered this by hand. And the part, okay, let's see where to bring by. Okay, let me just read the second part here. If you do not complete your recertification, you will no longer be eligible to remain in an affordable apartment and will have no alternative, and we will have no alternative but to commence legal action against you in order to move you from the apartment. Did you get that? We will have no alternative but to commence legal action against you in order to remove you from the apartment. I'm an excellent tenant. I pay my rent every month. I keep a clean place. I don't have any problems with anyone. I'm quiet. I was dumbfounded. And this person who also I have to make mention that the letter of this, the name of the letter on the letter who supposedly sent it has somebody else's name on it, and the name sound familiar, and it sounded like the name of the individual who was the first person to process my paperwork when I moved in approximately 15 years ago. And then I think on the 14th year, this current person does my paperwork. So I asked her, I said, hey, I just got a letter. I didn't read it until I came home from seeing you. And is this the same person from the first time? She said, yes. I read her the letter. And she said, oh, just disregard that letter. And I'm going on and saying, I don't understand. I'm a good tenant. I pay my rent, and what's going on? Blah blah blah. Yeah, it was going on and on. In short, though, when I mentioned that I was going to write a letter to her and the owner of the management office, all of a sudden, only then did she finally say, oh, well, that person did not write the letter, and that she did, and that this was like a form letter, and that she forgot to erase the person's name. Oh, and I also said, but it's not signed. It has a name, but she didn't sign. He said, oh, well, she didn't write the letter. And so here, what it sounded like, she was trying to pretend she's somebody else. And again, she could have easily forgot, but this person hasn't worked for the company in years. So for years, she doesn't put her name. You use the same letter. So again, this person, English isn't her first language either. But either still, you send out a letter like this, and it's like I thought we had a good professional tenant management relationship, and we talk to each other, talk to her, hey, how's your family? How's your child? Small talk, you know, and she wasn't going to say that, I would not have known that she didn't, that she wrote this letter. And there was something else about this. It just, it's, in my opinion, it's hostile. It's very hostile. Also, like, it takes time to process everything. And the fact that I came in to see her today, and the fact that I called her yesterday, she would have said, hey, I sent the letter, blah, blah, blah. But nothing, as if everything is rosy. And then once she finds out, once I tell her that I'm going to write a letter to the owner of the management office, and it's a major office, it's not a 1-2 person operation, it's a major player in the retail management in New York City. They manage many mega buildings. Yeah. So she doesn't want them. It just seemed like she may not wanted me to write the letter. She just said, oh, well, no, it's me. Well, it's you. Why would you still write a letter like this to an excellent tenant? So it started to really bug me, this letter. And it was bringing out some of the things. See, this is hitting home to me because, like, in my experience here, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised here, and I feel sometimes that if you're an American and English speaker, that with some of the new arrivals to the US, that they really don't like you. And they in particular don't like you if you're, let me say that word, a Black person or mixed race person. You're just an American person, a so-called minority. They really don't like you. And when they're in a position, with some of them, when they're in a position of what might be perceived a superior position, that it comes out of, it's like an infraction or a perceived infraction by them that I allegedly did, that their real hatred and animosity comes out. And so I find so this letter is reminding me how even the business world works. You have people from other parts of the world, and I've been living and being raised here in New York City and working in New York City, that I'm usually the only one American born in New York that I deal with. And it's that power play, and that sometimes they try to set you up to things to make you feel, or they want to point fingers at you. Hey, you're doing this or that. And then they don't protect you. The management, they don't protect you. So it's making me feel, I'm being really honest. It makes me feel that my presence isn't wanted in my own country. It doesn't matter that I'm a veteran. I'm proud of my country. I serve proudly, and it doesn't matter. Someone else who's not vested in this country, that citizenship is being made easier for people at times. I know some people would disagree with me, because you have people who are here and are being deported. You have people here when they're a little child and now they're adult, and then they get thrown out of the country and they have children that are born here and the families separate. Yeah, you hear things like that. And that's not right either. But I feel that people are coming here for the money only. They don't love the country. They don't love our language, but they want the money and they don't respect the people, the people who are born here, who are part of this place. And if they can, they'll boot you out. They're harsh. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it, but it just certain themes keep coming back. And so I know during the election in 2016 that our current president was, told that he's being a bigot and things like that. But only thing I'm saying is that it's okay to be an American, and it's okay to be an American who is Black or mixed race. It's okay. And I feel that even if you're white, you still have rights. And it seems like the people who are new and really don't really care about the country, they care about bringing their families over and care about that money. And if they can get you fired or kicked out of your place, then they could bring in their family or friends. That's how I feel. It happens too much for it to be just a coincidence. And also with what makes me really, really feel that way is that, like, okay, yesterday was the 18th. Now I keep a record of the other days, the prior years. Again, I recertify once a year. And the past years, some of the times that I came in for recertification was in February. Yep. Several of them in February, but no letter, no threatening letter about legal action against me. It's January. So what's the deal? Something is motivating her actions. Let's just say it was an accident. It was she spat out my name might have been on a list, all the tenants of my status, apartment status, and just generate. You don't look at what you read, what you send out. And why? Let's say it was somebody else. Let's say she actually did a mass mailing, but she just met one person in the mass mailing, and so she sends it out. But why would she even send it out to that other person? It's still early. It's early. It's January. It's January. January is January. To get the transcript, it takes 10 days. And recertification, March. So something is up. So what is it? Is it a power thing that you have against certain people? But if I'm from your country, whatever, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But it's just how I feel. I feel like an alien in my own country. An alien. So I'm more sensitive about the, what do you call it? About the whole concept of, I'm sorry, I'm losing train of thought. Yeah, with living in the United States legally, be fair. Be fair, regardless what country around the world. Everyone should have a free chance to legally apply to come in and work. Because, variety is the spice of life, But only thing I'm saying is those people that come in, make sure they're people that love our country, love the language, love it, wanted to defend it. Not just people here to freeload or to just get money and then ship it back to their own country, they don't love you. I don't want anybody here from somewhere else that does not love the system here. It's not a perfect system, okay? But if you're from somewhere else and you want to come here to make money, well, you have to be loyal to us. And if you don't like it, I send them back. Send them back. I'm that way. That's how I feel now. See, before, I thought the more the merrier, let everybody love each other, but they don't love us. Under their breath, they think, I don't like you. I don't like you, dirty American, but I'm here because I want to get the money and send it home. Yeah. When it happens to you, you're going to have a different viewpoint. And some of the people who are pro-immigration, see, I'm pro-immigration lawfully, and that the person deserves citizenship because they have demonstrated a true love and want to be American citizens, not just someone who's just here for the money. Because how they treat those people who are here. And I see that some of the people that I hear in just regular, I'm not talking about high up in job, the mainstream society, everyday activity, that I'm finding that population has a hatred for Americans. And in particular, if you're an English-speaking Black person or mixed race person, it's a hatred. And when you're surrounded by an atmosphere like that, you start to feel, wow, am I safe in my own country? I was feeling like that at one time. And I don't want to feel that way again. I don't want to feel, get paranoid that, hey, I'm letting this incident happen. But when you get a letter to threaten, here, everything's paid, I'm a good tenant, and to threaten them, a letter of eviction, to just schedule. So it has nothing to do because of money. Everything's paid. I have a contract. I've signed a contract to stay here. And every 2 years I renew it, and you keep renewing it, and so on. So my feelings are hurt a little bit. That's basically it. My feelings are hurt, and I felt that I was being disrespected. And I'm a veteran, and they don't care. So what I did, I wrote a letter. That's one thing I learned. With my work background, I used to be an administrative assistant, and so and then with my college, that we had to learn how to write papers and stuff like that. So I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to her, certified return receipt, because they might say I didn't get it. So certified return receipt to her, noting that we had the conversation today, and noting about the letters that was sent to me, and a copy to the CEO of the management office. See, a lot of times the head up of the company don't know what their subordinates are doing. Just like the government, you have the president, he may not know what's going on underneath them because it's so big sometimes, and people do things. But if they'd known, they wouldn't allow it. So that's also why I always send a copy of what's going on to the head of a company. So I just feel better that way. Whether they want to throw it in the garbage, that's their prerogative. I just know I want to cover my behind, as the expression goes. And I want to live comfortable. I feel like, it's a business. When you pay your money, you get the service, but not the harassment. I felt this letter was a harasser, to frighten. And I feel it was to frighten because how they perceive you. how they perceive me, that I'm a nobody. And if I think you are in any infringement, I'm going to get you and I'm going to threaten to kick you out. That is stressful. And this girl, she has a young child, a child going on 9. I don't think she's married. And to do that, what if someone did that to her? Oh, you're 2 minutes late. Coming to work. Well, we're going to write you up and we're going to fire you if you don't. You know what I'm saying? I've been in this building for 15 years. I'm not a fly by night. So, yeah, that's what happened. And so, yeah, we got to be, we have to learn to be more sensitive about to people. I feel that I'm sensitive to other people's needs and immigrants. I love meeting people from other countries. I love it. I like to learn about different cultures, different foods, things like that. So it's not about that. It's just, I think when you get things too easily, it goes to your head and you want to show off and feel like, hey, I'm better than you. I'm not even from here. And it's a mindset. It's a selfish mindset. You don't need that. You don't need that. So you definitely pray for me. When I got the letter and everything, and I feel like, wow, it's a time for me to leave. I don't want to live where I not wanted. But if it's not one thing, it's going to be something else when you move somewhere else, right? I mean, I love this city. I'm a city girl at heart. I love the diversity here, and it's easy to get to every place. I can just walk. I don't have to drive. I don't want to drive. I like the simplicity of it. You get a routine and everything is right at hand. I love it. Yeah. So that's all. That's what's happening. So I know I said a lot. Yeah, I'm just looking at the messages here. Let's see. Okay, someone else said, "Damn woman, you sound like a Southern belle." That's another one. Good observation, sis. And the new atmosphere. Yeah, it's a new atmosphere happening in New York, all over. It's not just New York City. I can feel it. I actually feel the change. It's a change in the air. And it's about control. It's something that they want to control people and fear them. Who wouldn't be afraid of someone being evicted? It's hard to get, even if I had $1 million, it's hard to find a place of your own. And especially when you have little pets. Not all buildings accept pets. Yeah. Not even if you rent a house. They may say no dogs allowed. So when I got this letter, I was thinking to myself, how did I say? Um, yeah, I said, wouldn't it be nice that I win the lottery and get the money and build a house? I part of me would love my own house. But see, I wouldn't get just a regular house. See, my ideal house, I like things, um, they have these houses that are made of, they have what they call the cob house, COB, it's spelled. And it's, in essence, the walls and everything's made out of mud. And then a lot of times they use a thatch roof, that's like a grass roof, grass roof. It keeps you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. I want a natural home. I don't like this synthetic material. Um, I want something that, like, I would like plants. I would like a lot of plants in my house and a garden. I want an edible garden. That's what I want. And I want something for my little dogs. I have those 3 little dogs. Yeah, they're resting right now. Yeah, somewhere they can run out in the grass or something like that, or but an area where they can play, in safety. I would like that. I really would. Yeah, so definitely, you guys out there, pray for my situation. That hey, if it's in the stars for me to have my own place, if what's happening now, telling me to hey, get a get it's time for you to get a new place for new times. Yeah, yeah, definitely pray for that. That if that's to be, that resources, or those of you who are financially able to even donate money so I could buy my own place. I would love my own place. I've never had my own place. And it's something, I'm the only one in my family that does not have their own place. I'm the only one that rents, you know. But yeah, some of them used to rent, but they have their own place. I know having a house does take responsibility, a big one. Yeah. So maybe just rent a house or something. But I love New York City. Telling me, the time is for me to move. I don't know. Yeah, let me see other comments here that's racing here. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Okay, retracted. Because someone retracted. Okay, that was it. Yeah. So someone wrote a message, but they retracted it. But yeah, it'd be nice. I really would like another. I like that option. Boy, I would love to. That would be really nice fantasy to get access with the win a lottery or something, be inherit a good sum of money so I can have a house built. Ideally I would love to have a house built for me, for my um for my liking. I probably want a, what do you call it, what do you call it, skylights. I would love, something like a bedroom that you could see the stars at night. Yeah, I want to be able to see the sun rise in the morning and the sun set in the evening. Yeah, I like that. I want to be able to see the celestials. That's important. Growing up, I always used to look at the ground, everything. I never paid attention to the sky. But the sky is beautiful. And I think you could learn a lot by looking up at the stars. Yeah, yeah. Boy, anything else? I can't think of anything else right now to talk about. The main things I wanted to talk about, those 13 kids and my day at work. Well, I think it was something else. What was that now? Let me see here. Um, I'm not sure exactly what I was referring to. Sometimes I could write a little note on the side for me to, to like a FYI reminder that, like even on a local level, and like you have like some type of conflict, interpersonal conflict, or business conflict, and you're not given that opportunity for a meeting or something like that. I mean, I've even been in a situation in the past, like after 9/11, with the World Trade Center, when the bombs inside. Yes, I said that there were bombs inside that building, and it was brought down by design and not by those planes per se. But either way, that after that incident happened, it was 2 weeks after that incident. I had someone suggested I go to this bank to, because I had relocated back to New York from Hawaii, and they said, "Oh yeah, they have a free check, and hey, you might want to check out that bank." So I went, but before I went, I had called them 3 separate times, and I just to make sure what documents to bring and all, what I would need to know. What would I need to know to open out this account? Well, when I got down there, the rules changed. Okay, this area that it's the bank wasn't in my neighborhood, but I've opened out a bank account when I was a little child, with my parents in another county. Out on Long Island, I live in New York City. I went to Long Island and opened up an account. It was at a major shopping mall. That's where everybody, flock over there to the shopping mall. And they had a bank there, and I opened a bank account there. So at that time, I lived in Queens, New York, which is one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. And I wanted to open up a bank account near this other shopping center in Queens. So I bring the documents, and again, I already got instructions what to bring and everything. And when I get down there, I was denied. And in fact, it was one of the worst experiences in my life. They said that I could not open a bank account since I do not live in the immediate area, nor do I have a job in the immediate area. This is in Queens, my borough, that I was born and raised in. And then the manager walks up, and he was a man, and he started getting verbally aggressive with me. And then he sat down on the edge of the table with his private parts by my face, yelling at me, and used a racial pejorative to me and said that I don't trust you. I think you're suspicious and blah, blah, blah. He went off. The man had a mental breakdown right in front of me. I said, look, I just want to open up an account here. I said, look, I called 3 times and you never said that I had to live nor work here. You told me about the documents, and I called 3 times. And if it was that important as a requirement to open up a bank account, you would have said that first, but you didn't. No one did. And now you're denying me. And he flipped out. Yeah. Because back then is again, that people of color back then, at least with this individual, were considered the enemy of the state. And so don't trust any of them. And also, the area was in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. And I think that was a big issue. So you keep it white, you keep it Jewish, and if you're not any of those things, you can open up a bank account. I'm not going to say the name of the bank. It's not necessary, but that is what happened to me, a fellow New Yorker. And I did write them up. I wrote everybody. I wrote the newspapers. I wrote the, what do you call that place? The people who are in charge of banks, that particular bank president. And nothing really transpired in my favor. They did transfer the guy. Probably, his transfer was to be near his house in Long Island rather than Queens. He probably lives out in Long Island. Yep. And they said, well, he didn't do anything wrong. Really? You're going to slander somebody, say that they're terrorists? And I don't trust you? Wow. Yeah. People got away with stuff. So I'm sensitive about certain things, about how certain people in New York are treated, So here a newcomer could come in and have rights. But if you're an American and you're a person of color, excuse me, how you treated, like an enemy of the state. But sometimes, when people do things like that, they will eat their words. They'll eat their own words, and somebody outside who is a real alien will come and take over. And I just sit and look, oh, so you don't like it. Yeah. I don't wish harm on anybody, but see, sometimes people get really cocky and pushy, and they think they can just do anything to certain people. If you're perceived as being weak, if you perceive, oh, you're just a from that demographics, they don't have to give you service. I say no. People have to have have keep yourself together, and I do believe treat people with respect. Treat people how you want to be treated. You know, and because you never know what could happen. Anybody can lose their job. That girl um, who wrote that threatening letter to have me evicted could lose her job. You can get ill health, something a natural disaster, you lose your place. Anything like that could happen to anybody. We gotta care more for each other. And I think how the world is what's happening now. People are being taught to distrust everybody. People are using terms. Oh, that person's a such and such, and they're just throwing terms out. It's because they just want to say it, and it's not true. If you're going to call somebody, accuse somebody of something, make sure it's true, not because it's the latest fad word. You know, it's fashionable to say somebody is a such and such. So, for sympathy or whatever, words are cheap. Words are becoming cheap now in the United States. People could say anything, and it's not valid. And what they call like fake news. There's a lot of fake news out there. A lot of fake news. Everybody's about, which party you belong to. It's not about party. It's not about left or right. It's about being fair. Because we all, even husbands and wives, they're not going to agree with everything, but it's a balance, and it's all about respect. And I feel what's happening now is that people are lacking respect. People are, not taking care of their health. People are so sick. You notice now, like people are, there are more hospitals. You have more hospitals in New York City, but you got so many more sick people. You have all these high-rise buildings all over New York, new ones that are just being brought up. But you got more homelessness. You see that? You have more schools. But we're not reading on grade level. So there's a problem. There's a problem here. It's systemic. You have people like, what was that, in Hawaii earlier this week? Well, I think it was Sunday, this past Sunday. Someone pressed the alarm that these rockets are coming to Hawaii to blow it up. Why should any nation have these type of weapons that you can zap somebody like that? There's no reason to have weapons of mass destruction. It's not. It kills everybody. Yeah, and what I was going to mention about people, about meeting, oh, what is? I'm sorry, I almost forgot the point about the bank incident. So I had requested a meeting once to find out why did this occur. Oh, there were actually two bank incidents. That was the first one, but the second one, not to go into detail, that something happened, and I request a meeting with the director of that bank, the general manager, and to see a copy of the tape that was filmed while the incident happened, and to go over the tape. And they said no. They said, we don't see any reason, any way, there's no audio. I said, that's okay. I want you to sit down and we look and to find out why you sent a security guard after me. Why did you do that? That was a weird incident. That happened maybe 10 years ago. And so I was I was told no, and nothing more of the situation. So here you have someone on a in a base level, just a general public who want to have dialogue with management, let them know what's happened, what they're going to do to prevent it. So now you have nations. So we're not talking to each other. So if you can't even talk on a local level, we're not going to be discussing on an international. There's no dialogue. Everybody's just saying might is right. And that's what happened with both bank situations. Might is right. If you don't have the perceived power, you're not respected. We need to learn how to respect one another. We have to in order to survive as a nation and as a planet. We're not respecting ourselves. So that's why we're eating all that GMO in foods. They're doing all these experiments on people and causing all these cancers and things like that. If the war doesn't kill us, the cancer will. We have to stop it. We're gone insane. We're losing our mind. And I don't know why this is happening. I think something's behind it. But I really wish the whole world a safer place for the young and the old. Whether you're a native born or you're foreign born, we have to work together. This fear of not having. And as I mentioned in my other live video, that a real culprit in what's happening is money. Money is the root of all kinds of evil. Even the Bible says that. I don't follow the Bible anymore, but it gives certain principles and lessons that are very valuable. But yeah, it's a weapon, and money is used as a weapon against everyone. If you don't get, I mean, we're not born with money in our pocket. We're born butt naked. Animals are born naked. They don't have bank accounts. Animals. They don't go to public schools. But they're healthy. They're strong. They seem happy. They only get sad and depressed and cuckoo when humans get involved with them many times. But here, this monetary system is the system that's being used to control us, all of us, and makes us fearful. You lose your job. Why are you afraid when you lose a job? Well, because you have to pay your bills, pay what they call rent. Why do we pay rent? Why can't we own our own property? Why is that? It's another control system that was introduced who knows how long ago. It's not a natural system. Really, really, really examine it. Examine what it's all about. Money. It's a piece of paper. But I tell you this, if you take that piece of paper and you make it look exactly like your monetary system according to a country, it would be considered counterfeit. But this money is not backed by anything. It's just like monopoly money. And they control us by it. You can't do anything really, you can't do anything without money. And I think that's a problem. I think that's the real slave master, the banks and the money system. It is entrapping us, so we become fearful of our neighbor. We become fearful of the person next to us on the job because they might look better than you, perform better than you, and you're afraid that might make you lose your job. right? Why do people act out the way they do? Because the fear of losing the job. This is the new slave master. And this system got to stop. Somehow we have to somehow wake up the planet and say, end with this monetary system. I don't want to be a slave to anything. Yeah, really think about it. Think about it. It's not a natural system. The school system is not a natural school system. It doesn't teach you what you need to know. It doesn't teach you how to really do things. But it teaches you, in my school when I went, it taught us that certain groups were inferior because of an aptitude test. Yeah, they said it. And they said what races, and he meant it. And this was someone that's from a group that historically is persecuted, and he's teaching us. Yeah, it's really mind-boggling. And that keeps people in bondage too. So if you feel that you're inferior or others think you're inferior, then they'll treat you a certain way. They pay you a certain amount. And then they turn around, those people that said that you're inferior, oh, well, you live in the gutter. Well, you put me there. You don't give me the same opportunities as others. Yeah. Yay. It just popped in my mind when I talked about inferiority and money and everything. Have any of you been listening to oh, what's that? Meghan Markle. She's an actress, and she became engaged to Prince Harry of Great Britain. Have any of you have been following it? I've been looking at it. I've been looking at it very much. When I want to get distracted, I'll watch them. And when they get married, hey, hi, MC Len. Yes, yeah. I have to be honest. I've been following it, and I just watch it to just escape. Just I don't really take it seriously, and I guess it's just to distract me with going on in the government and all the shootings and things like that happen in New York City. And I was wondering, what are your thoughts about this engagement? Well, for me, when it's really interesting. When I first heard about it, like that weekend, just before they made a public announcement of their engagement to marry, that something just told me I just need to look at on YouTube regarding them. I just had this compulsion. So that weekend, I stayed at home watching the little videos about the couple. And then Monday morning, boom, I turn on my computer, and the first thing on YouTube to select for a video to watch that was recommended to me was the announcement they made on the news when they were having that interview. I think it was like a 20-minute interview. Yeah. So I think my interest in it, just beside just the princess type of story, in New York City they have with the little backpacks, it has the picture of the Disney characters, the little princesses. So it's like very mainstream, this princess mythology. And I don't know why they target females for this thing. Overwhelmingly, it's always the female and what happens to her. But they don't have things about to become a prince. Why is that? Why is that? Yeah. Exactly, MC says. Exactly. They focus on the female. And now they even have including black females. Disney has a black character, and I noticed with her. I mean, they did it. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but I saw the commercials with it, and it was she was done. The black character was done very stereotype. I mean, it took the actual person who did the voice of it, and it took her mannerisms that's what might be considered American Black in its speech patterns and just body language and all that. I mean, they did it well, but it was just something that it was really reaching for this. Wondering minds want to know. Yeah, exactly. Wondering why. So now they're trying to get this. Now they want to get Black women, all mixed race women, women of color, into this princess mind, this princess story. Remember that was a movie, Princess Story. No, The Princess Diary. They want to put that out there now. So now, and you notice also with at least in New York City, with the shopping, now they include black and white type of people, with the models, who the little commercials out there now. Yeah, they have both now, but this princess story they want to push. What is the significance of this princess story? And how come the princess is not getting her prince? It's like she's orphaned. So it's putting up a possible fall, like disappointed. It's all this build up, build up. And with the movie, what's the name of that movie? It's a TV show, not movie. I forget the name. Suits. The actress Meghan Markle. She was the lead actress in the movie called Suits. I keep saying movie, TV program. It's been out for 7 years. I've never seen this TV show. I don't have a television set, and I never heard of her, only until they found out that they started dating last year over the summer. And in I was told the last show on the TV show Suits was the one that she was to get married. Okay, for those of you who are listening who don't know who Meghan Markle is, she is a woman of mixed black and white heritage. And then in real life, and then the character in the TV show character she plays is also a black and white couple that she's born from. But they just have the reverse, which parent is black and which one was white. They had it reversed. Her biological father is white, and her mother is a brown skin, a black woman. Like the woman's like my color, but she's an American Black from the South. And that last showing, she was to marry a white man, and the white man abandons her at the altar. So this is getting interesting. Isn't this interesting? Do you think, folks, that this was an accident? I mean, I don't know when they wrote that script in, but don't you think that is really telling? Is Hollywood, because I believe now, I thought Hollywood was just hit and miss, but now I'm learning that nothing is by accident. In the movie theaters, the movies and television, and radio, nothing is by accident, and everything is staged. I don't mind it. When I say staged, I don't mean that it's fake, but in this context, that it's all by design. They want you to think a certain way. Okay. And yes, it's all by design, MC. That's right. And by design, if this character on the TV show Suits, has her being abandoned at the altar, you know, that like the what they call the tragic mulatto syndrome, you know, you get your right, you're so hopeful to be accepted into this white mainstream world, and then boom, notice that you someone dies or abandonment, you know, it's a theme, and this is a part of the brainwash culture to divide the races. Okay, so it would be interesting now. Meghan Markle and Harry, the prince of in Britain, um, they're to be married in May. I think they said May 19th. I could be wrong about that, but sometime in May, they're to get married. Now, if they love each other, they seem to really, really like each other. You love each other. Love is hard to find. Love is hard to find, no matter what, what your race is, you know. It's hard to find your significant other. Okay. But I ask myself, okay, now, again, and I'm really watching this relationship for obvious reasons, and for those reasons that those people may not. For people who don't know what is obvious to me, is really the race card. In a nutshell, if Harry was with just another white European, I wouldn't be watching at all. I couldn't care less. I don't follow the royals. But when I heard that an American of black ancestry was dating him, I said, I want to be nosy and find out more about this. Yeah, because Harry has a brother, and the William, and he married a couple years ago. I didn't follow it. I think I did see the wedding part of it. Yeah, I remember seeing it at one point. At least it was discussed in one of those daytime talk shows. Yes, I did watch it, but I don't follow it. But when I heard about Meghan Markle dating him, I didn't. I thought they were just going to be just date a little bit of something, and you know, here today, gone tomorrow. That's what I thought. But when I got, but that weekend that I felt an urgency to watch about the relationship. What was that now? Yeah, I said, oh yeah, I remember that the media started. Some of the videos started talking about like this. Oh wow, we think something is up. Look, she's wearing what they call a husband shirt. I never heard that expression, a husband shirt. She just had on a tailored shirt, a button down shirt. And so I said, I think they're talking in code again. They're talking in code. And I knew that the media knew something that they were letting on to. And it turns out that Prince William had actually proposed to her several weeks prior to the announcement, because he said that it was early that month and the announcement was given at the end of the month. So, people talk, but maybe they were ordered not to let the general population know. And that's what really happened. But something said, hey, I think something's up. And how the media is acting, I think they know something. So I just felt an urgency that weekend to know. And then that Monday, when I got up and turned on my computer, the first video of selection for recommendation was, they said an engagement announcement. I said, engagement? Wow, let me check this out. I turned it on, and my mouth dropped. Yeah. It was nice that he had went on his knees and proposed to her. I thought I'm kind of a romantic, you know. I like traditional things like that. I think it's beautiful and if done from the heart. And he was very protective over her. I think that a man who demonstrates true love and willing to protect your honor, protect you and your well-being, is someone that's worthy to go out with. Yeah. If a man doesn't respect you or willing to protect you, find somebody else. Don't waste your time. So, but it'd be interesting to find out how it develops, you know, and what she may be up against. I think everything is by design, and they were introduced by a mutual friend, and that was, I think, the woman that introduced the two was living in Britain. They met in Britain, not in the United States. And why now? You know, why did this person introduce her specifically? Like, I'm thinking if you're going to introduce somebody because he lives in Britain and the matchmaker, who I would call the matchmaker, also lives in Britain, you find someone that's living in Britain, not someone from that's living in Canada. But that's what happened. So I'm thinking, who's this? I'm really curious about who the matchmaker is and what is that woman's real connection. That would be a scoop to find out. Wouldn't that be? Who that matchmaker, why, and knowing the historical possible ramifications of, for one, an American woman who is a divorcee, and the royal family of Britain is the head of the Anglican Church and forbids of marriage of anyone who's divorced and that spouse is still living. I mean, someone could be a divorcee, but the former spouse is dead. It does. I don't think it applies, but her former spouse is still alive, so that's a biggie. So why would a friend introduce that? And again, you're not living there, and the racial component, because historically in Britain that there was a color codes, you know. So it's just really interesting. And so there's a time and season for everything, and I'm wondering whether or not that someone has something up their sleeve and admitted this to happen. And it's interesting to, like, when I when I watched videos about the history of Meghan Markle. Amazing. Amazing. Why I say amazing is because um, it's not just the racial component. If you just even exclude that, like, she was in school, she was going to Catholic school, and the school had them watch this program, and when the program, was going on, a commercial came on, and the commercial was a laundry dish detergent, and they said, women all over the world, blah blah blah, you know. And then one of the boys in the classroom, I think she was in the fifth grade, fourth or fifth grade, and one of the boys in the classroom remarks, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen. And that's what really triggered her. And she discussed this with her father. Her father is in the television industry. And the father said, well, if it really upsets you, write a letter. So she wrote all these people. And she did get heard. And I thought it was amazing that the fact that she did get heard by, what's her name, Mrs. Clinton. This other the famous female lawyer who defends women who were violated. So I thought it was something. You know, what was the other thing? Um, it just seemed to the pieces seemed to be developing very early what she was going to be, and then fast forward, she majors in college for what's that theater and international something with like international relations or something like that, and she gets a job in oh, I forget the place, but she like a she it could have been in South America or Spain. I forget which one. Maybe I think it was South America, and I think in the embassy, some official place. Like you're going to be representing people on an international level, you know. And it's like, wow. So it's like from the very beginning, she's being programmed to follow a career path. And again, it just, you know, and her working in television gave her the confidence to, you know, taught her how to speak in a camera and talk to others, to mingle with people, to travel. See that? I think she was ordained. Someone has ordained her to play this part because, as you see in life, that is, if it wasn't meant to be, forces will prevent certain people to do things. Don't even notice, even in your life, you may have wanted to try to do something, but things were blocked from you. Well, for her, things were always open, and it's open for a reason. So someone has their hand upon her, and that would be really, really interesting to investigate. Who's really behind her, and what any? I mean, I don't mean in a sinister way. I don't mean that, but it's just by chance, you know. And Harry had other women in his life, and you thought it was going to work. The first one was for 7 years, and the other was for 2 years, and look, they were marriageable from his race and culture. At least one of them from his culture. I think the first one, and the second was uh, from Africa, a white female from Africa, but it didn't work out. They didn't like the camera and the attention and blah blah blah. So go figure. So it fit right in. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah. So also what I found interesting, like with Meghan Markle, she has she's really interested, you know, she has demonstrated by visiting countries such some countries in Africa regarding water, to get fresh water in some of these communities that she visited. And she's also a like a, I don't want to say ambassador, but she's a representative of, she has some position with the UN, the United Nations. She was invited to speak in the United Nations, and I think it was before she even started dating Harry. They had her. They said, "We want you to have this position, like a spokesperson." Yeah. So isn't that something? So getting back, like, so she's being groomed very nicely for this possible new role as to become a princess. She would have to give up her U.S. citizenship. I don't know whether they allow having dual citizenship. That would be interesting to find out. So if anyone knows out there, let us know, you know, whether she has to be, whether she can have dual citizenship or she has to give up her American citizenship entirely. One of my concerns is like, things happen. What if, you know, because sometimes people may have to divorce. She had a career, and to have to give up citizenship, she had a social media that she has to give up. I think I think that's a lot. Will she have access to her family if she wants to visit her family? Because again, just because you marry, yes, when you marry into a family, but she's also part of an established family, her birth parents, you know? So how does that work in this situation? And what 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 does she have to give up? And again, will she be able to get back? Let's say, she doesn't like the lifestyle and she wants to go back. So that's another question. And what they may require her to do. I mean, you hear things, and like Princess Diana didn't want to participate in certain functions, and being that Meghan is into seems like humanitarian things. So what if certain things go against that humanitarianism? Like maybe hunting wild animals. And I think that was recently in the media. Um, they might have to do certain rituals. You know, whether she's game. Whether she want to be a part of that. Whether and with Harry when he was younger, when he was a teen, he had that swastika thing on. He dressed as a Nazi soldier. So all these things. Does she know about that? I hope so. That she said that she didn't know him, anything really, but they didn't know about each other. So he never saw her TV show, and she didn't know him or really know much about him. So I mean, I'm happy if she's happy. They seem like they really care about each other, but it's going to be a big step to have a new identity. I mean, it could be exciting too, but to to give up, and yeah, it's really interesting. So I will be following their engagement, and whatever what choices that I made that, excuse me, that both benefit. And I wish them both happiness, whether they marry or not marry, that they both find their significant other and live a peaceful, constructive life. So let me see here. I see here some comments. Let me see here. Let me read that. Let's see. Okay. You got it. Something about their need for a melanin offspring now. Yes. Do you think she had relatives connected? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean there with that. Do you think, MC, uh, what do you mean by do you think she had relatives connected? Meaning that, oh, do you mean like maybe her mother or father knows people in the royal house, or whether they have a bloodline connection? I don't know. That's a good question. That would be a really good question, and I would speculate that people would investigate, find out what's your bloodline. Because again, with royalty, it's about the bloodline, but they do let in new blood. But how new? It'd be really interesting. I would imagine. I wouldn't doubt there's some connection because the father is European background, and the mother too looks like she has a European and African background. You never know. Let's see what else here. Um, she isn't the first biracial princess. That is correct. Yeah, I think that's correct. I know they have Charlotte. What's his name? During the time of the Revolution, American Revolution, that the I think her name was Charlotte. She was someone of, at least she looked like of someone of biracial heritage, Portuguese. Um, they say Portuguese, but the person did look like a light skinned black person, and was that the grandmother or the great grandmother of Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. Let's see what else. But let me know, MC, who would be the first biracial princess, and would that be the biracial princess of Britain or another uh, royal house of Europe? Yeah, let me know. I'm curious. Let's see. Okay, MC, the first from America. Okay, and sounds like they using for control over America. Oh, that's an interesting. I guess it could also um, bind the countries. Give more reason to fight for each other, not against, but if one of us get in trouble, the other one jump in. Yeah, let's see what else. Very good, and they still rule over America. That's right, and I think the IRS is actually a British. I mean, it was formed here, but it's for Britain. I think the money actually gets funneled over to Britain. That's what I heard. And let's see. Most recently, they still rule over America. Yeah, most recently, I think she is from Africa and now in Europe. I think in France. Okay, I don't. Okay, okay, that would be interesting. Yeah, definitely let me know if you know what country. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I can't think of anything else I should talk about. Anybody here that's in the live chat? Anything you think I should talk about or you want me to talk about? I'm just looking at the live chat. Okay. I know that there is a time delay also when I talk and when it's aired on YouTube is a few second delay. So I'm still waiting. Yeah. Let's see. I don't see anything else. Yeah, so I can't think of anything. I think tomorrow, who knows? I'll see how the weather is, and yeah, my dog stayed indoors today. I didn't take them out. I was working on that letter. Uh, all this. What you think of the shutdown? Tell me what shutdown? There was a shutdown. I don't know about a shutdown. I don't. Gonna wait till what MC says about a shutdown. I don't know about that. Government shutdown. Why? I mean, why? Could you tell me just a little bit more about it? Yeah, I don't know about the government shutdown. Did they say when and how and what is it? Is it like a shutdown to impeach the president? And I'm looking myself on the screen when I'm talking. Yeah, it's about a 10-second delay. The Senate block vote tonight. Okay. Mm, interesting. Well, you might do a shutdown, but then eventually you have to shut up. Right? Right? You shut down, and tomorrow you shut up. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know about that. See, these are all scare tactics. Scared. I mean, I think it's immaturity that it's not the first time you had someone in office who was not liked or policies. You always had something. So now they're going to do something. They're going to see, it's all, see, someone really is behind all this. They're behind it. They want to overthrow the government. That's what I think. They want to overthrow and put in their puppets. They're really trying to overthrow the government. But I say I've been in the military and I've visited different places, and I've lived, even outside of the military. I've lived outside of the continental U.S. You go to other places, it's not like America. The type of water, even the water's even better tasting here. It's not perfect. It has the fluoride, but yeah, it's not for a woman, for a single woman to live by herself. When you go overseas, it's not, you don't have the same rights. You live alone. You live in a place and you're a single female. That gives the right of, for some men, they believe, to come in and assault you because you're a single female. So you must want me. That's their mentality. You're not safe in many places when you go out there. This is the best place for me for now. And I know that. Unless it's some real rich place, I got a lot of money, I'm in a rich neighborhood or something, but even still, the United States and where I live, it's this one of the safest places. You can go out at night. Within reason, you go to those areas where it's, relatively safe. I know now you have people who try to do terrorism, but even that, I think that also is staged. Yep. I believe that it's not just hit and miss, it's you have people in government, I believe, that set up organizations and they pay them and they give them weapons to go into other countries or within their own countries and commit acts of violence against civilian populations. And I think that's what's happening in Afghanistan, or what they were trying to do even in the United States. Yeah. Yeah. MC, same thing. Oh, wow. MC, you in the Navy too? I was in the Navy. Yeah. And she's also saying, I agree something is staging this stuff. Yeah. It's somebody behind it all. And I think, I think I wanted to talk about this also. It's this thing, like I was watching this program. His name is, what's his name? The guy that he's a what they call a truther, or Alex Jones. And he had on Monday, I think his name is Steven Seagal. He was that actor, and he does the martial arts stuff, where he's friends with he considers himself a goodwill ambassador, and he wants the U.S. and Russia, to make amends, and so he's friends with the president of Russia, and he's visited there, and it doesn't make any sense to me why you have all this paranoia. I'm not a communist or socialist. I'm pro-American. But Russia is no longer communist. So I'm confused. If Russia is why is Russia considered the bad guy? Now remember, in World War II, Russia or the Soviet Union were allies to the US. We had fought together against the Germans and all those other people that sided with the Germans. Remember? So how come if they were good then and worked alongside of us to combat the so-called the evil people, the Nazi regime, why right immediately after the war they create what's called a Cold War, whatever what that means. If those of you who know what that word means, Cold War, even when I was in the military, they didn't tell us what the Cold War was. But either still, they say, I'm sorry, I lose the train of thought, but they say like they're bad and don't trust them. But yet the US has relations with China, who is a communist country and is known for um, crimes against its own people. Again, I've never been there, but that's what's being said, that there's certain abuses being done to the people. So it doesn't make sense, right? You have a communist nation like China, but yet the US lets Chinese people into the country, form businesses, and then, but then in the same token, you have Russia, who's no longer a communist nation, it's capitalist, and yet they're the bad guy. And if you talk to someone from that country, especially if they're in some government, you are a traitor to the country. And the U.S. is even what I heard. What do you call it? The International Space Station has Russians going in it and working alongside us. So you see what I'm talking about? That it's a game they play. One wants to play the bad guy, another wants to play the good guy, but you're working on mutual what do you call it, projects together, right? Working on projects, but then you say that they're bad, and then you're saying those who are communists are good, like China, and anything pro-China and all this good dialogue. So I don't understand it. And I think they're playing us for a fool. Yeah. Look at Germany. Right after the war, what did the United States do to the bad Nazi Germans? Well, the US brought them into the country and gave them good jobs. And then they formed NASA. NASA is a German Nazi organization and is funded with our tax dollars. It hides all these cuckoo people who are former Nazis. Tell me, who's the terrorist? Who's the traitor? You're going to bring these people in, and then it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and yet the U.S. now has good trade with Germany. Why is that? They're supposed to have done all those horrific things, and now, oh, everything's good now. Yesterday's enemy, today's best friend. This is illogical, and it's cultural brainwashing. It's cultural brainwashing. Really? You're going to call someone bad? I mean, again, I've never been in those either country, but we're being lied to. I think they're all friends. All the nations are friends, but they play games, and one's going to play the villain, another one. But then they have these mutual agreements and projects that they do together. They're all bedfellows, period. So don't believe all the hype. Yeah, they go to each other's country. They have their underground bases, I believe. They might even help each other dig these bases, but then on the surface, they want you to believe something else, a cover story. And I'm planning on interviewing someone who was involved in the Super Soldier program. I'm looking forward to that, and the reason why I want to do that interview. I want to start interviewing people who are experts or have firsthand information regarding these subjects. Again, my channel name is Spirit Journey, and I'm raised like most of you people out there, just in a traditional background. I used to follow the Christian Bible, and then I had a paradigm shift in 2014. Then in 2014, that's when it really started happening for me. I stopped going to church and been on a search ever since. And I want to start finding out about these what reality really is, what controls it. And so I want to start finding out about these alleged programs that are going on in the world, such as which involves human trafficking. Human trafficking. I want to understand how the human trafficking now, how it's related to the infamous slave trade of the 16th, 17th, 1800s, 15 through the 1800s. How it all ties in. How does all that tie in? Why do you need slave trafficking? We have all these technologies, manufacturing machines that can mass produce things. You have labor unions. There are plenty of people without a job, and they'd be very eager to give them a job. So why you have the human trafficking? And I think that is an essential question to ask. And I think part of the people who help answer this question is this other researcher by the name of David Icke. And even though David Icke, some people may not take him seriously, but when you listen to what he says, and then you compare the other people who write, what do you call it, truthers, investigators, they're saying the same thing. They're in essence saying the same thing. And I think maybe that's the real issue. Who is really controlling the system? I think we're all slaves. I think we all are imprisoned in this capsule called planet Earth, and people are being abducted. People and children are being put into these underground bases. They're being violated. And so that's why what I was mentioning in the beginning of this live feed with the that family with the 13 kids that had tortured them, that I think they're involved, that is something, that it might be a connection with, the Montauk. Exactly. That there's something. And I think they're related. And the father is involved with the contracts, the company contracts for the military, that build the weapons and stuff. It's all related. Yeah. I think that's what's going on. All these kids being kidnapped. Why are they being kidnapped? Where are they going? Well, they're going somewhere. And maybe that's where the secret space program is all about, according to some experiences of this. And that's what I want to start to delve into, to investigate. Some of these people, I believe. Some things I question, but the theme of what each of them say, it's a common theme. And I start to think about myself. Like some of the things they mention that, I don't think I'm necessarily a so-called secret, what we call it, super soldier, but, excuse me, but different tests, and certain people that know, like, they were missing, they'll, where were they? You know, and some of the things that happened, like memory, like all of them seem to have like a memory loss or something from the age of like 4 through 6, something major, and I have a glitch in that time period. It's something, and I never was able to shrug it off. I saw things like I've mentioned this in a prior video that I was in my room and I saw in my room I was just waking up from a sleep, and I see like a portal of a movie camera videotaping me, but it was in the wall, and I kid you not, and I got startled. Whew, I jumped like that or something, and then it disappeared. And when you talk to the people in these victims of these secret space program or the super soldier program, they talk about that they saw beings coming through the wall like a portal. In my case, it was a camera that I saw observing me, and but some of them saw beings coming in and taking them, or they get the paralysis. I've had the paralysis before. It was just boom. All of a sudden, I was awake, and all of a sudden, this phenomenon was happening. You know, something is up. Someone could be doing taking tests, and then I get the thing like the vibration. Again, maybe it's just my chakras being active now, but now it's like it just starts to vibrate. All these things are what's going on. So, and what was that? Fun, there's a mark on my leg. Maybe who knows what it is. It may mean nothing. Maybe it's just some type, as you get older, you get marks, in your skin. That could be that. But some things just don't make sense. I started to believe that this is really a simulation. The scientists are saying that all that we see is really a hologram. And I think maybe the whole concept of the hologram is to keep you from venturing outside, to keep you in a stupor and to keep you active. They want to keep us active because they want our energy. And so we like a little gerbil in turning the wheel, and we're moving, but we're not going anywhere. There are people out there that want to hold us in darkness and want us attacking each other. So you're so busy about what race somebody is, or who got paid more money, or who has a better looking neighborhood, and all that silly stuff. And I myself get sucked into those arguments. And I fall for it every time, it seems. But I think it's just a game. And I know for me, I don't want to repeat this game again. Not at all. Not at all. Mm-mm. And let me see the other comments here. Okay. Oh, okay. She is Old Soul Maggie says she is awesome. MC, yes. And then Old Soul Maggie says human trafficking is happening right under your nose in New York City. I would guess it's still being controlled by the Montauk base. Yes, it runs deep into the drug culture. Thank you for sharing that also. Yeah. And they say it still is. And a lot of cover up, says MC. And then Old Soul Maggie says, I would up down this rabbit. I would up down this rabbit hole trying to answer own life's question. The MC says it is we are within ourselves, everything around we projecting as reality. But let me read that again. We are within ourselves, everything around us projecting as reality, but it isn't. Okay. And then also me either. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, it's not reality. And they say that our bodies and everything, it's just a vehicle. Your body, your physical being, your five senses, the sense of sight, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touch. It's all a interface to the other world, or this physical plane. But and then our mind, I'm sorry, the mind is the interface between how you interact with this physical world and where the real you resides. Your brain is just a receiver, and it can bring back. It goes both ways, but it doesn't create a thing. It is strictly like something like a bridge that goes both ways, like a channel, a dual channel. But it's not the us. They said the mind is not you. I thought it was. I thought the mind was me. That's what I mean. That's what I mean about this whole spirit journey of mine. I thought every thought in my mind was the true me. That's why I love to hear myself, in my mind, because it's me. But it's not. It's just an interface. It's a biochemical interface so that you could react according to what's happening physically within your five senses. So we're being taught now that, okay, so you have that aspect. So that means there really is a higher you, someone is channeling through. And like you're I don't want to say like a puppet, more like the movie Avatar. Any of you saw the movie Avatar? And you had a scientist. They were like regular people, and then they took the DNA of the native culture from this planet, and then they created it in a lab. And then when the human, went to sleep in this machine, that its essence goes into the avatar, the man-made being, and is able to animate. That's what we are. That is what we are. And it's blowing my mind. I said, okay, if that's the case, if that's what it really is all about, us being an avatar in this planet, how do we get in contact with that higher self? Well, they say through meditation. So in China, they don't allow the people a certain type of meditation. I live near there's a consulate, the Chinese consulate. Consulate. And they have people who boycott, the people from China. They have these signs and everything boycotting. That, but when you protest, and it's about this form of meditation. Who cares about whether someone meditates? You just sit on the ground whenever your eyes are closed. But in China, they don't want you to do that. Excuse me. At least this form of meditation. And so you start to wonder. So there's something to it. And they talk about what time is. What is time? You have, I've been watching yesterday what they call remote viewing. Have any of you heard of what they call remote viewing? You're able to like they start off with a meditation, and then they 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 have someone, like they have a question. In essence, what it is, that there's a question, and um, to get the information, you have to be focused, and you have coordinates, written coordinates of this question, and you can make up any number that to give this coordinates, and or it could be a location you're interested in finding out about. And then when that's done, like they all seem to begin with, they first write a series of numbers, and these numbers represent the question or the place that you want to find out about. And then you write down the numbers. Is it usually two sets of four numbers? You write it down, and then you write this like a squiggle, whatever what expresses comes forth after you write the uh, two series of numbers. And then that number represents the actual target that you're interested in. And I've been watching this, and they had a film that came out this past Sunday that I watched. Yeah, and I had to pay to see it. That's on the Farsight Institute. They're located in the U.S., I think in Georgia. And they remote viewed the book of Revelation, chapter 12, about there was a war in heaven. And they explain with remote viewing what that was all about. It was fantastic. Yes, it was. And so it seemed like the time that there's no barrier with time. You can see something in the past and things in the future, some people. Yeah, because we're all energy, they say. And with that, energy could be transmuted. It could change, and you can tap into certain things. And so with myself, so also I'm trying to tie in everything. I know I'm a little over the place, but everything really has a central theme, what I'm talking about. That um, I started meditating. I don't meditate as often, and I think maybe I got a little scared because even though I keep saying I want to know the truth, sometimes this truth could be scary. And so one time, this happened last year, I was meditating in this room, and it's nothing fancy. I kept my eyes closed, and it's just relaxing. And then I saw something. I saw myself doing something. I saw myself sitting down at my coffee table, going through my what do you call it? My notebook, my electronic notebook, and I was going like this, thumbing through it like that, going on the touch screen and moving, looking for something. It was me. I saw myself. I was like on a side view, watching myself do this. I kid you not. It lasted just for a few seconds. And then I remember when I was a child, this only happened once. It was very brief. It was like in a daydream up in the classroom, and then that this event was going to happen. And soon when I came out of the daydream, the person came to me and did exactly what I saw in this daydream of mine. And I remember it to this day. Yeah. Yeah. So what is this? That time, like one scientist said that before something is made known to our senses, there is a 6-second delay. See that number 6 again? And in the Bible, it says 6 is man's number. They weren't kidding. 6. So I think what happened, that there was a jump ahead of the 6 seconds for I don't know how it happened. It's nothing I did. It just popped. And then you go back. They say even before the body reacts, like the scientists would put these electrodes on people, and they were to show them something on a screen. So the scientists knew what was going to be on that screen, but before they even showed the person on the screen, their biochemical reacted as if they already saw what was to be on that screen, and then they showed it. And then, yes, it intensified. And that's how they find out about the 6-second delay. So we already know the future 6 seconds ahead of time because the body prepares for it. It's amazing. So our body, us as humans, are really special individuals. And I think what magic is all about, that magic is all about learning how to tap into this energy and manipulate it, whether they know something about the future or something from the past, or even to materialize something. Yeah, something that came to my mind earlier today about magic. That when you're able to, the real magic in life is your mind able to conceive a concept, an idea, or let's say, oh, I want to build my dream house. Once you're able to visualize it, it's already in creation. Amazing, isn't it? That is creation. And if that thing in your mind, like I was able to see something, that thing is somewhere in some dimension that is formed. Yeah. So I've heard that some people in this plane, like they want to prepare for the afterworld, they start to imagine what they want their new world to look like, what type of place they want to live, and they create a place. And some people with remote viewing, I was told, can go to a place in remote view, not remote view, I meant to say astral projection, with the astral projections thing, that they can set up this, what place they want to live in. So when they astral project, they go to that place that they created with their own mind, because your mind is where life begins. In that, the mind meaning the conscious mind, the you. It is magic. It is magic. And I think I want to do that more. The fantasize about what you want your new house to look like, or what type of environment you want to be in. If you could think it, then and you think it, it is created. Isn't that something? And you have people who don't want you to know that. They want you to feel weak and like a victim. I don't want that. I don't want to be a victim. Maybe earlier today I kind of sound like a victim, but no, I don't want to be a victim. And I think this money thing, see, if we could create all this stuff, if we can create with our conscious mind the reality, wouldn't these people in charge want to distract us and think that money supports us? But if you say, hey, I want to use my mind, my consciousness, and create my own reality, my own world, my own family, my own, environment, then you get out of that matrix. But they want to keep you in and just keep focus on what gender you are, what race you are, who has the bigger house, who has the fancier shoes or handbag. I couldn't care less. But they want you to think it's the most important thing. If we have all this power to self-create with our consciousness, and that time is irrelevant because time is. They're saying that time is a made-up construct, just like money. There's no such thing as time. It just is. And they said that what happens in life is that we have a focus of attention that life is, but right now we're focused on a particular, like in this moment, I'm a female sitting in this chair at this time. That is the focus of attention. But I'm eternal. And that our bodies is not really even physical, they said. It's all energy. It's low energy. That's what they always say, you have to try to improve to have a higher energy status. Because for one thing, it prevents certain type of illnesses. When you have in a high energy frequency, you emotionally, physically, you operate better. I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to do that. Yeah. Let me see what these other comments here. Let me roll up. Okay. Let me go up a little more. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of questions there. I'm just scrolling up. Okay, it's hard to. Okay. Okay, I have someone here. Let's see. Also, Maggie, she says in the 1960s, the CIA had trap houses. Oh, had trap houses in Manhattan. I think you're onto something. Delving into super soldiers. It is all interrelated. Yes, that's Old Soul Maggie says that. They also say, I have to see Avatar. Yes, go see Avatar. I bought the CD. It is very, very interesting. And I forget the name. John, oh, what's his name? John, oh, I forget his name. It'll probably come to me. But he's known as an insider about how the real world works. And John Carpenter did Avatar. I think it was John Carpenter. I could be wrong. It could be the other guy too. I forget. I may be wrong. I forget who did John Carpenter. No, maybe it wasn't John Carpenter. Oh, what's the other guy? It'll come to me. Either way, Avatar is really telling, and it's really about what Avatar is about. Is to about self-aware. It's about becoming aware of the native people on this planet are being invaded by outsiders, and they want to take their resources. Bingo. Rather than having black people, they paint the people blue. Okay, in a nutshell. Okay, MC says the higher us is the soul. My soul took me on a journey in the spirit world. Nice, nice. Through sleep. Okay, and someone asks, or next level says, what did you see in the spirit world? And she said a combat fighting. As according to MC, and MC also says, I felt overwhelming fear. And then next level says, you were fighting or watching? And MC says, soul was fighting and saving people. I was watching and riding as it jumped over as it jumped over ruins of buildings. I'm scrolling still. There is a remote viewing project called The War. Yes, The War on Heaven. I had been meaning to research it. Far Side Institute sounds amazing. What? Yes. Yeah. Also, Maggie, yes. The War on Heaven was a remote session that was done. They had 3 people that were doing the remote viewing, and they were all They were in different locations. At least the guy was in Asia and the girls in the U.S. But no one ever saw each other or spoke to each other for 2 months. But they had common um, outcomes. It was amazing. It was. Let's see. Someone else says focus guy, because it's a new person. She says, I love you, sister. Keep up the great work. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then MC says, yes, just energy. Yeah. And then I totally get what I totally get what your flow. You are doing great. Love your channel. Thank you. Thank you, old soul Maggie. And then let's see what else. Psychic and let's see. Psychic and yes, magic is real. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. And then let's see. That's what they do. Wow. That is why they distract us. Yes. They distract us because they don't want us to know that we have the power. So make you think you're a victim. And I felt like a victim all my life. I think I was the poster child for victimhood. Yeah. And realize, and you see those people. It's like the Wizard of Oz. See, Hollywood on one side of the coin makes us real messed up. But at the same time, they also show you the truth, what's going on. Just like the movie The Wizard of Oz. They were telling them that they have to pay for things and do things. That is already, he didn't have the authority. He pretended the wizard, he pretended he has the authority by having this really masculine, powerful voice. And then when he saw what he really was, he looked like a fool, didn't he? Yeah. We're being run by fools. Yeah. Yes, all to distract us. So pay attention. Oh, there's a movie that's going to come out in a couple of days. I'm sorry, I meant to say a couple of months, in June or July. And it's called, I forget the name. It starts with an A. But it's about, get this, see, they're hinting about the secret space program in the super social program. They some woman, and she looked like she was dead, and then they put she what do you call it, like a cyborg. She was human and mechanics, and then she looks like she falls in love with this human with no mechanical stuff, and then there's a war. It's to introduce that component. Is to introduce what the next phase of society is going to be about. That's what television and movies was all about. It's an indoctrination. And someone said that's why they call it programs. Yeah, it just blew my mind. You sit there, and so that they use this certain pulse, certain frames per second, and that pulse, I forget the number of the pulse, it puts especially little kids in a hypnotic mindset so that anything that's being said on that television gets into that child and brainwashes them. I was raised on television, and I was brainwashed with everything in society. I was brainwashed. I supposed to have this or that type of thing to feel envious and feel inadequate if I didn't have certain things. What would life have been more like if I never had a television set? People would be probably interacting more. See, that's also what the media is all about, to make us not become social and playing with each other, socializing. We stay at home and watch this idiot box that teaches us to be prejudiced, um, bias against people's race, religion, nationalities. And again, our initial exposure to the world is really through television and now movies. Movies now, like I mentioned, I think in another video I did, um, that at least in New York City, they have at least two theaters that do the 4D. It's remote, not remote. What do you call it? Um, oh, that reality thing. What do you call it? Where you see the, have the goggles and you interact. Yeah, that they have that now. See, now they're trying to implement this that they want your reality to be behind those glasses. Yeah, two places, right near each other, in the theater district in New York City. They are making it now mainstream. And so now you really disconnected with people. Now you're interacting through those goggles. I forget what you call that term. Thank you. Thank you, old soul Maggie. Virtual reality. That is going to be your new reality. So here you had the television, the movies. It makes you sit there for hours and just having blank mind and being programmed to be what you are, inadequate. And then now the next phase is, well, we're all going to be encapsulated with this VR glasses, interacting with it. So there's no need to have this reality. They're going to replace it with the new reality. And you notice all these VR games, it's all violence. All of them are violent. Because I went inside the theater to see what it was all about. And they showed what they would play. It's all war. Everything is war and bloody. Bloody. I said, wow, you're going to have a child? You're going to show a child that? Yeah. Bloody violence. Bloody violence. Everything, the blood is gushing all over the place. I don't like that type of violence. I don't want that. But that's what they're doing. That is what the media is doing. They're changing the reality and shifting to have this new one, VR reality, where it's going to really be blood. Why do they do this? This also could be what David Icke, that investigator, that see again and I make mention of this before in an old video. Like they have what they call the silver screen in the in the regular movie theater, and all these horror films and stuff. It takes your energy. And I think it's made silver because, silver is a conductor of electricity. So it's able to hold that energy. And where does that energy go? Well, we know that energy isn't wasted. Someone's taking it and they're utilizing it and they're probably feeding off of it. So now you're going to have these glasses and elicit even more fear, anger, whatever, or sexual things. And those glasses it's connected to a terminal, goes to the CPU and then to the other person who wants it. And they're absorbing it. They're clever. They're clever. So be careful. And it's telling me, that with this VR going to be the new reality, we have a choice. Say, hey, look, let me spend time with my family, go outdoors, get that fresh air. And I think this will heal the planet. Heal the planet. Heal the planet. It's okay for games once in a while, but let's start to interact with each other. See, that's also why you have these little wars going on, because we're disconnected to each other and we're believing the lies on the television set or what's on the radio or the movie theaters. We think that's real. We think that they're our enemy, and we need to stop that. Hey, let's come together. Let's have picnics together. Let's eat together. Let's socialize together. Let's go to the park together. I think that will heal the planet, and it'll make us more socially focused rather than money focused. So I guess that, I'll just read up the last comments before I go. Let's see. Yes, let's see. Let's see. Okay. It says, oh, yes, there are patents that confirm everything you are saying about TV. Hollywood is the wood witches use to cast spells. Yes. And she also reminds me that the term is virtual reality, those glasses. And she also says, or he says, let's see, I think that I think that is the way war is being waged. Soldiers working behind computers with drones or direct energy. And she says, exactly. And then the pineal gland or the third eye, huru or soul. Yes. Okay. Yeah, they want to sap that. They want to sap that because they don't want you to get in contact with your higher self. Wow. Maybe we should all pray for those people who are doing these things, that they get in touch with their higher self so that we won't have this war and stuff like that. Yeah. Fear not. Fear not. And I hope I didn't get anyone frightened with this broadcast. And yeah, the power. And I'm telling, when I speak to you guys, I'm speaking to myself too, because I need to encourage myself that the power lies in each one of us, and we're not to be deceived about anything about ourselves. That's to love our bodies, love every aspect of ourselves, and not to think that someone has something more than us. We all have what we need to have in life. And if you don't have what you need, like those poor children, those 13 children who were tortured, that pray for true intervention, and that there be these children and adults, there were adults too in that house, that they be restored to full capacity. Yeah. So, yeah, Ashe, yeah. So I'll be going now, and I appreciate all of you who watch my broadcast this Friday night. Sometimes, going out there could be really dangerous, but sometimes we want to just stay home with our family and just hear some sound conversation. I know that's what I like. I like to hear people just communicating their thoughts, their heart. So I share my heart with you this evening. So I hope you enjoyed, and so feel free. This video will upload, and you can write your comments below if you once you see this broadcast in its entirety. You can share it with friends, families. You can subscribe to my channel. Give me the thumbs up. And yes, and I do I do have what they call a PayPal me account. And those of you who want for me to continue with the content that I have, and you want to join in my efforts financially, that you can go to my PayPal me account and give whatever donation your heart desires. Whether it be a penny, will it be $1 billion? It's all in your hands, and it's all done in free will. So I thank you again for watching and making this an exciting experience to me. So take care. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your health. Hey, do some meditation and chill out. Thank you again. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye bye.